Hello guys and gals, and welcome. So today we're going to be looking at another unique item, and this one is Blackbog's Sharp. Blackbog's Sharp is specifically a Necromancer item, so why am I on a Barbarian? You big, silly galoot. Much better. So here we have Blackbog's Sharp Cinquedeas. Now, the Blackbog Sharp Cinquedeas is a pretty amazing item. It is obviously made specifically for Necromancers, as you can see with the Poison Nova, the Poison Explosion, and the Poison Dagger skills. But let's go over this item specifically, and we'll take a look at what it can do. So we have a super fast attack speed right off the bat, because this is a dagger. And it also has 30% increased attack speed, so do keep that in mind. We have one-handed damage of 30 to 76, which is not the most amazing, but it does do a particularly high amount of damage in its poison dagger form, but not because of the physical damage. We also have adds 15 to 45 damage, which is a physical damage bonus. It's actually very nice. It functions, I believe, very similarly to the way that Grief does. We have 488 poison damage added over 10 seconds, which is just added flat to your attack. We've got +4 to Poison Nova, +4 to Poison Explosion, and +5 to Poison Dagger. And on top of that, we've also got slows target by 50%, which is an amazing effect, which can stack up to 80%. This does actually stack with sources like Clay Golem, Decrepify, and Holy Freeze, all of which the Necromancer can have access to if he wants to. It has +50 defense also, which is obviously because they expect you to actually get in there and stab things. And we're looking at 30 to 76 damage with a dexterity of 88 and a strength of 25. And at level 38, this is probably one of the best items that you can use for a Poison Nova / Poison Dagger Necromancer, like pretty much bar none. And if you've never played around with the poison skills, there are 3 of them. One of them is the Poison Dagger, which is basically where you actually go up to a monster and you stab them in the face, like this. And once you have stabbed them, they will slowly drain away from the poison damage which you have dealt them. Now, of course, all the poison damage, I believe, is all kind of stacked together as one source. And there are other things that this dagger is beefing up. So it is also beefing up the Poison Explosion. Poison Explosion is actually a pretty massive amount of damage, and when you utilize it, it does actually do quite a lot. So take, for instance, this guy, this poor guy. He's going to be our source, and the clouds will spread out from the target, and anything poisoned will take pretty massive amounts of damage. I kind of wish the poison cloud was a little bit bigger, because it really doesn't hit as many targets as you might like it to. And then the other skill that this is beefing up is probably one of the most favored, and that is Poison Nova. Poison Nova is a huge swathing effect which hits everything nearby and does a massive amount of poison damage to all the monsters. And this dagger is giving you +4 to Poison Nova, which is definitely very nice. So not only is this giving you the ability to stab, it's also giving you the ability to use your Poison Nova and Poison Explosion with an increased effectiveness. And then on top of that, when you do stab something, you're getting the slows by effect, which can help you get away. Because as a Poison Dagger Necromancer, you don't want to just stand in there and keep stabbing. You're probably going to run over, stab the monster, and then run away. And the slows target by 50% is going to assist you in that goal of stabbing and running away. So all in all, a very epic dagger for a Necromancer who wants to stab things. You want to stab things? We got your back. Here's a stabby dagger for stabbing. Now, of course, you can also find this in the ethereal form, and I believe what the ethereal form is generally used for is actually PvP, because you don't burn durability when you're stabbing people. And the massive amounts of poison damage that you do on this is actually kind of ridiculous, combined with the slowest target by makes for a pretty epic dagger for PvP. Now, granted, you got to get close enough to actually stab things, so that's up to you. But one successful stab could mean their death, so keep that in mind. Now, you can upgrade this. So let's go ahead and upgrade this. So we're going to need a Pull rune and a Lum rune and a Perfect Emerald. And we're going to need 2 of them because we're going to upgrade the Elite, or the Ethereal version as well. So first let's upgrade the non-Ethereal version. And we've got 30 to 76 damage, 88 dex, 25 strength, and a 38 level requirement. And upgrading this will bring us to a level requirement of 69, a one-handed damage of 30 to 102, so a nice little bump there. And dex requirement and strength requirement stayed relatively the same at 86 and 42, which is not bad at all. And let's go ahead and do the ethereal version. And the ethereal version is 37 to 91 with a 78 dex and 815 strength. And that goes to 37 to 130, 76 dexterity, and 32 strength. So a little bit more stabby. That's pretty much all there is to it. And if you were going to run around stabbing people, this would definitely be a very nice knife to do so if you were a poison dagger necromancer. Another option could be the Flesh Ripper Fanged Knife, which I've already covered. But the Flesh Ripper Fanged Knife doesn't have the same bonus to skills. So keep that in mind. Now, there are, of course, better items that you can use for a poison necro, but not a poison dagger necro. If you're specifically trying to be a poison dagger necro, this is probably one of the best knives you can put on. However, there is a really nice wand. It's called Death's Web, and it has negative, 55% or 60% enemy poison resistance. I haven't covered it yet on my Diablo 2 unique items, so it's not fresh in my mind. But that wand is actually better if you're specifically going to be a Poison Nova Necro. However, the low level requirement of this particular item when it is in its original form is actually relatively nice. And I feel like any necromancer who is a poison necromancer is most likely going to use this dagger for quite some time as they level up their necromancer, up the tree. And once you get to a certain point, you will probably switch over to Death's Web if you are specifically going to be a Nova necromancer. But this dagger can definitely be useful for quite some time. And running in and stabbing occasionally with your poison dagger is certainly not a bad thing, especially if you built your character specifically around Nova. You probably have dagger and poison explosion pretty beefed out by the time you get to Nova because you're building the synergies, obviously. And so your poison dagger might actually do more damage than your Nova for a little while until you manage to beef it up completely. All in all, it's definitely an interesting knife with a very interesting graphic, and I feel like the effects on it are at least good enough for the level 38 that it spawns as. And until you are capable of using something a little bit better, if you are a Poison Dagger Necro, this is probably your main go-to knife for the time being. There's really not a lot more to say about this knife. So, as always, I do appreciate you guys watching my videos, and keep watching.